All the area has to offer.
Salute with the fast freight SD50-2s parked on the other side as we leave town. This train goes all the way to Penn Haven Junction, much further than before, and they get some good speed in.
As we travel through the entrance of Jim Thorpe Railroad, it is the Pennsylvania Route 903 bridge. It was dedicated to late Sergeant Andrew J. Haddock, a Jim Thorpe native who lost his life while saving other soldiers during a mission in Iraq. The bridge opened to the public in 2016 after replacing the former Route 903 bridge. The current bridge is nearly 1,000 feet long. It's approximately 100 feet above the Lehigh River, and leads visitors to Thorpe Memorial on the other end of town and beyond that into the Poconos. Which is used to turn on a steam locomotive and face the opposite direction. And a steam locomotive 425 is over there on the left side of the train. And there is the 2102.
Right on this side. These F units are just as popular as the steam engines almost. There's a hiking trail over there, goes a long way, goes up into the Lehigh Gorge. Path goes up to Whitehaven.
Here, right, you can see the R&N F trail. This hiking and hiking trail, created by the Delaware and Lehigh National Railroad Corridor, runs 165 miles from the city of Wilkes-Barre to Bristol, Pennsylvania. During the summer months, thousands of visitors can be seen enjoying the trail, which runs gently through the Lehigh Gorge State Park. Keep your eyes open now if you're on the trail, as a variety of snakes, including rattlesnakes, black snakes, and copperheads, are known to slither onto the trail. We're now approaching Haven Junction. If we were to follow the track to the left, we would travel to the towns of Nesquehoning, Tamaqua, Hamburg, and Reading, passing over the hometown High Bridge. That's the same track that our Saturday and Sunday excursions from Reading to Jim Thorpe utilize, as well as the route of our Iron Horse Ramblers. The track that we're traveling on leads us to the Reading and Gordon's main line and into the entrance to Lehigh Gorge State Park. To your left, you'll be able to see the abandoned PQ switch tower and the one-time controlled trains traveling to Haven Junction. The tower closed in April 1972, and now all 400 miles of our railroad are controlled from our dispatching center at Fort Clinton, Pennsylvania. As we prepare to head into the Lehigh Gorge State Park, you'll see a bridge on your left. This bridge, which connects Reading and Northern's Reading and Lehigh divisions, was constructed by the railroad to expedite moves between Reading, Scranton, and Canada. It officially opened for rail traffic on February 4th of 2020. We're now going on to the Nesquehoning Bridge across the Lehigh River. Everybody on the left side of the train will be able to look straight down into the Lehigh River, and everybody on the right side of the train will be able to look downriver to the town of Jim Thorpe.
Here we're turning right, about to cross the Lehigh River. Here's the Lehigh River as we creep slowly over. And over there is the new bridge they were talking about, where they run the NRFF up to Pittston from outer Reading.
We're now passing over the Coalport Bridge, which crosses over the former Lehigh Valley Railroad, once owned by Asa Packer. Passed over the Reading and Northern's Lehigh branch, as well as the Norfolk Southern Lehigh line. The area on your left leads to Glenanoco Falls, a triple waterfall nestled high in the mountain. The site of the legend of the beautiful Native American princess, Anoco. According to the legend, the princess left her death from Niagara Falls after her father forbid her from marrying who she loved. To this day, historians and storytellers cannot prove just how much story is true, but the legend says that the princess still haunts the falls, and the spirit of the mystical pier on bright sunny mornings over the water below.
Sounds like a little Romeo and Juliet story. Hey.
We'll be crossing over the Lehigh River for a second time, and the site to your right is the location of the former Hotel Juanita. This hotel, built in 1886, with a four-story luxury hotel, was one of the highlights of the area. It boasted 47 elegant rooms, as well as dining areas, tennis courts, and an 84-foot-long bar. Guests of the hotel were able to take in the sights along the Lehigh River and go to the outdoor while enjoying sports and heritage rides. In its heyday, the hotel boasted year-round tenants as well as notable guests from around the world. But unfortunately, in 1911, a fast-moving truck fire destroyed the hotel, and the land was left to be reclaimed by Mother Nature.
Listen to those Fs rev up. They have GP38-2 style engines. Love that sound. There's the Lehigh Gorge hiking trail out there with the river alongside. I've walked on that hiking trail.
This quiet spot along the line is one of the few places where the tracks of the Lehigh Valley and Jersey Central Railroads are side by side the same grade. The former Jersey Central Railroad is now the biking trail you see to the right and runs over 20 miles to the town of Haven. That's the same path that passengers on our popular bike trains utilize to ride back down the hill 27 miles from Haven to Jim Thorpe.
Yeah, those F units have pretty much more modern GP38-2 style engines rated at 2,000 horsepower. Most of the time the Lehigh Gorge train is powered by GP38-2s, so they may look different, but they sure sound like GP38-2s.
Today we're riding generally along the floor of the Lehigh Gorge, and the top of the mountain that you see on the right side of the train is about 1,000 feet higher than we are.
Whenever I've walked on the Gorge Trail, I've walked maybe about this far almost.
We have a number of rafters going down the river there on the right side of the train. And the Lehigh River on the right side of the train here is a popular adventure for thousands of visitors every year. The river flows 109 miles into the Delaware River and is known for its numerous Class 2 and Class 3 rapids. During the warm summer months, it's not unusual to see dozens of rafters and kayakers enjoying trips down the Lehigh. The name Lehigh comes from a Levity phrase meaning, "where there are forks." Besides rafting and kayaking, the river is also a popular fishing location with a variety of species including trout, smallmouth bass, largemouth bass, carp, and catfish. In 1818, the Pennsylvania General Assembly gave away the rights to the Lehigh River. It was owned by the Lehigh Coal and Navigation Company and used for transporting coal throughout the region. This was the only example in United States history where the state did not own water rights to a river. In 1965, a bill was passed rescinding LC&N ownership. We're now approaching one of the sharpest curves on the line, Oxbow Curve, named by voters of the Lehigh Canal for its resemblance to the that oxen used to pull wagons and forms almost a half circle. About halfway through the curve, we'll be passing underneath what looks like a footbridge. It was actually an oil pipeline suspended above the track and the Lehigh River. The span is about 450 feet, and it was one of the original oil pipelines in the country and ran between Oil City, Pennsylvania and Linden, New Jersey. It now carries fiber optic cable. This portion of the Lehigh Canal was named the Upper Grand Section and totaled 20 dams and 29 locks. It was destroyed by a flood in the 1860s and replaced by railroads. Now along our line today, you may have noticed some posts with numbers on. These are known as mileposts or mile markers.
I've never walked up this far.
Mile marker 124. This means that we are 124 miles away from Amtrak's Pennsylvania Station, 30th Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
What do you know about that? Past the signal. Okay, Andy Muller's Railroad has signals.
A significant curve to the left. So everybody on the left side of the train is in for a unique experience. If you look to the left front, you will get an unobstructed view of our locomotive up there pulling us up the mountain. Now at the same time you see the locomotive, look to the rear of the train and you will see the back of the train. On this point, you can see our entire train.
Not on this side, unfortunately. But it is pretty sharp, I must say. Only way up from here is, well, I just said it, up. If you're not on the river.
For those who enjoy fishing for Pennsylvania state fish, the brook trout.
Great day to be outdoors doing just about anything.
Lehigh Gorge State Park has a rich history of natural beauty and has been through the last 2 centuries. The 6,107-acre park stretches from the Francis C. Walter Dam in Luzerne County to Jim Thorpe and is characterized by the state as a deep, steep-walled gorge carved by a river, thick vegetation, rock outcroppings, and waterfalls. 20 miles of the DML Trail traverse the gentle sloping pathway into Jim Thorpe. Besides hiking, biking, rafting, and fishing, Lehigh Gorge also offers outdoors boats, a number of hunting opportunities, and photographers with hundreds of locations to capture the magnificence no matter what the season.
Last time I rode in one of these cars was probably on a Chestnut Hill local out of Reading Terminal back in the early 1970s.
Coming up on the left side of the train will be a small waterfall coming from the mountain. This small stream runs from the depths of the forest and travels directly underneath the tracks to empty into the Lehigh River. Its unique feature is that even in the hottest and driest days of summer, the creek never runs dry. It will be on the left side of the train, down at track level, right outside of your window. I'll let you know when the lead cars are passing the waterfall. Rafters there on the right side of the river, taking a little break as they walk down the river.
Here's a guy who wants to beat the train. Can't beat General Motors, buddy. Well, they talk about the Lehigh Valley Railroad. Well, this is it. This is the valley they were talking about.
Cars are now passing the waterfall.
see it. Here it is, right there. I don't know if you can see it. It was a trickle rather than a flood.
We reached our destination for today, Old Penn Haven, also known as Penn Haven Junction. It's one of the most desolate spots along the railroad, located about 7 miles north of Jim Thorpe and 5 miles east of Weatherly. Don't even try to use your cell phone here, folks. It's not going to work. The wide area that we're traveling through was once an important location on the canal system and later the railroad. At one time, this junction was the intersection for the canal on 5 different rail lines, including the Beaver Meadow and Hazleton Incline Plains. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, a small railroading community thrived in this area, but was only accessible by foot, boat, or rail. Now those folks who have brought bicycles along on the train today, this would be a good time to check around your areas to make sure you have your own and all of your personal belongings as you begin your 7-mile bike ride down the trail to Jim Thorpe.
I'll pass. They usually run the engines around when they have the Jeep 38 on it because it's easier to go backwards. But with an F7A and B, it would be a little painful on the engineer's neck to run it backwards. This is Penn Haven Junction. Here's a gangway for the bicycles and passengers. All right, you saw what a great ride that was. We got a little burst of speed there, and you got to hear those F7s work. All right, coming to a stop. They're just going to reverse and push the train back to Jim Thorpe, but we won't record that.
Penn Haven Junction. Now, for everybody that's seated in the standard coaches, if you don't want to ride backwards on a return trip to Jim Thorpe, you can get up, stand in the aisle, and push or pull the middle of your seat back to change the direction of your seat. That way you won't have to ride backwards on a return trip to Jim Thorpe.
Well, if you're a millennial that rides the Long Island Railroad regularly, you won't know what he was talking about.
If you need assistance, please ask.
There, we're coming back into Jim Thorpe. As we back in, passing the steam engines, they're disconnected, giving cab tours. See all the people out there. There it is. Cab tours are nice, but sometimes they don't give you enough information. When I went on a 611 cab tour at Strasburg last summer, I mean, the cab tour is interesting. They explained everything about how the controls work. The man asked if there's any questions. I said, yes. He says, are you going to put cab signals on this, or PTC? Are you going to make it an oil burner? He just looked at me with a blank face and said, I don't know.